Good morning, everyone. One of the quintessential practice in Chan that is so typical of Chan only is what? Does anyone know? Chan is from China. I'm not talking about Zen, I'm talking about Chan. Zen is not Chan. Zen is just a subset, a tiny subset of Chan. With all due respect to the Chinese and all due respect to the Japanese masters and the contribution to Zen and to meditation. But their teachings is basically a subset of the Chinese Chan teachings. They never had anyone who really could surpass the Chinese Chan masters at all. So that's why history is impartial. It's just that it's not a complete Chinese Chan. So my master, my late Chinese master, Master YongHua, brought Chinese Chan to this country. And so the one characteristics about Chinese Chan is to seek good knowing advisors or wise teachers, if you will. Okay? When you practice Chinese Chan, that's what they all do. They're, at least in the old days in China, not nowadays it's not true anymore. In the old days in China, in my master's era, when you practice Chan, you constantly are looking for a good known advisor. If you look at that, you see that's the only thing that distinguishes the Chinese Chan from any other kind of meditation practices. Okay? And as I said, it's not the case anymore in China nowadays. But back in the old days, when you practice Chan, that's what you do. You always are looking around for another good new advisor that you can go and seek instructions from. The title should be Instructional Talks from Snow Mountain Monastery. It's not Dharma lectures. Dharma lectures is usually of sutras, of shastras, and so forth. It's a much deeper nature. Instructional talks from a Chan session like today is much more shallow and emphasizes more on the practice side, not the theoretical side of Buddhism. Okay, so it's two different approaches of teaching Buddhism. All right, so that traditionally, in my master's time, when you practice meditation, you have a problem, then you can tell about your propensities or your background. If your Hinayana background, then you sit there and you grind it out. Okay? Whereas if you have Mahayana roots, you have Mahayana background, then automatically, most of the time, people would start looking around or ask around, is there anyone I can come and talk to ask about my problem? Okay? So that's it's a huge difference. If you do it like the Hinayana people, they grind it out, so it takes a long, long time. Okay? In Mahayana, in Chinese Chan, Mahayana Chan, we find it a lot more efficient, a lot faster to go seek instructions from a good known advisor. Okay, what is the analogy? It's like you, if you Hinayana and you crank it out, meaning you grind it out, meaning you keep on cranking and cranking until there's enough light to illuminate your problem, so that you see what's wrong with it. Okay, what's stopping you, what's obstructing you. Whereas in Mahayana Chan, we spend blood and sweat to travel long distances or keep on looking for a good no advisor, because as soon you go to good no advisors, these people have real wisdom. The one moment you see them, they emit light, okay, naturally, okay, and then they open the mouth and answer your questions. It's like switching on this blaring lights to shine on your problems. That's why you see your problems that quickly. Okay? And that's the nature of Chinese Chan called sudden teaching. Okay? You immediately see what the problem is. And if you see the problem, okay, then the good no advisor then shows you or helps you how to overcome your problems. Whereas in Hinayana meditation or Zen meditation, they grind it out. They sit there and they grind it out, try and figure out what is the problem, and then it takes a long time to find out what the problem is. And then once they find out what the problem is, they still have to figure out how to fix it. Now you see why the Chinese Chan is a lot faster, a lot more efficient, a lot more beneficial for you. Questions, comments? And you judge the kind of meditation practices by the presence of a good seeking good no advisor or not in that tradition, in my humble opinion. Okay? Because in my last 25 years of practice, that's what I noticed. Okay? Only Hinayana people, only Hinayana practices grind it out. Mahayana, we don't. Okay? The times that we grind it out, but most of the time we prefer to seek out good no advisor who sometimes will tell us, grind it out. Okay? It's because the instruction is from wisdom, not from being confused ourselves. We grind it out because we don't know any better. We have no other choices. Am I making sense? Okay? So the question you should ask me is, how do I know who's a good no advisor? Right? If that's so beneficial, how do the Chinese know there's a good no advisor? Now, in his times, in my Chinese master's time, it's easy. Because in China, they have this tradition of Mahayana or Chan patriarchs. Meaning these are certified teachers. When you go there, even if they don't answer you, remember the fact that they have wisdom, so they naturally emit lights. Even if they cannot answer your question directly or are willing to answer your question directly, the mere fact you're in their presence is helping you already shed more lights on your problem. Am I making sense? Right? So the Chinese are very smart. They teach their own kinds back then. You want to learn Chan, here's what you do. For us professionals, you spend 5 years learning the foundation in a temple. Okay? Meaning you learn rules, morality, comportments, and those fundamentals that are the foundation of Chan. And then after 5 years, you're free to go anywhere you please. No one can stop you, and no one will stop you. Okay? They're not, the Chinese true teachers were not worried about, losing their disciples or increasing the count of the head counts to become more famous. Unlike the externalists that said, I listened to a sixth Samadhi guy, an Indian guy, externalist. He's dead now, but he has his bushy hair and has this streak of white hair over here. You know his name? I forgot his name. It's not important anyway. And he says, look at my disciples. I have disciples from Europe, from the US, from all over the world. And their numbers amount to over 1 million. They're very proud of it. And then at the time, my master's disciples about maybe 100,000, 200,000 people. Okay? So, you see, the teachers teach you to benefit you. They're not worried about, they're not seeking self-benefit. They're trying to become more famous. Okay? So, that's why the tradition, in the Chinese tradition, is that you learn for us professional, to receive professional training. Okay? My cell phone is heating up. Today is too hot already. Sorry about that. It's getting hotter and hotter close to my heart. I'm going to pass out very soon if I don't do anything about it. So anyway, so the true Chinese teacher, they say, you come to my temple, I train you for 5 years, give you environment, give you support to learn the fundamentals of the practice. And after 5 years, you should go anywhere you please. Seek out a good no advisor. Doesn't matter what school you are, whether you're interested in investigating the teachings, learning about sutras, learning about sashas and so forth. Feel free to go. Whatever you want to learn, you're free to go anywhere you please. Okay, in particular in Chan, okay, we are a lot more active in seeking out good no advisors. Okay, so back then, the newcomers, they would go to, let's say, a famous temple, famous because it's, let's say, in the old times, is under a national master. Okay, meaning it's a monk who's recognized as a teacher of the king, of the emperor. That's called national master. It's a title conferred upon the emperor or the king to recognize the fact that that particular sangha usually is a monk. No nun yet, as far as I know in the Chinese history. That particular venerable monk taught the emperor, taught the king, and therefore the king benefited from the teaching, and it helped him or her or empress do a better job. That's the nature of wisdom. These monks and nuns, okay, were trained as an emperor, as a king, and yet they're able to advise the king, the emperor, how to become a better king, an emperor, or a better empress. That's the nature of wisdom. Okay, so they confer this honorific title, national master. So whatever temples they have, usually there's a lot of people who will go there because they know it's a good teacher. Okay. Another type of good no advisor people used to do, in China is they are known as Chan patriarchs. Okay. Patriarchs in Mahayana is a term that's only used in Mahayana. In Mahayana, when you're known as a patriarch, when you're recognized by a patriarch, meaning that another patriarch recognizes you as a patriarch. Therefore, there is a certification process, if you will, that started 3,000 years ago when Shakyamuni Buddha recognized the Venerable Mahakashyapa as the first patriarch. So after the Buddha left, a lot of people who they said had questions about Buddhism, they would go to Mahakashyapa and ask questions. Okay, and at times, Venerable Mahakashyapa could not answer questions. It's true. He doesn't know everything. Mahakashyapa is not the highest level bodhisattva there was. So he knew he couldn't answer the questions. Okay, but since this person, this Chinese guy, Chinese gal, is so sincere, he says, "I really want to solve my problem." So Mahakashyapa would say, "I'm sorry, I can't solve your problem. I don't know how to help you. But you know what? There is someone else called Manjushri. He's slightly better than me. Okay? You should go there and talk to him." So it's a referral system. Can you see that? So that's why this Chinese system of good no advisor is critical in their training of their own kind, their followers. So it's the nature of this good no advisors that you go to one, and if you are a true good no advisor, meaning you've been certified already, okay? Then it is your duty as a good no advisor, as a certified good no advisor, to refer the student to the next good no advisor who can be more beneficial for that student. It's a beautiful, beautiful Chinese system that's no longer around in China. Okay? It's not available anymore. Okay? Back then, it's official. You're certified as a national master, as a good no advisor. It's your job to refer to the next one. So these people are in the know. They know who is, It's a network of teachers, if you will. It's fantastic system. So my master brought that to this country. Until that happened, there's no such a thing in America. Is that right? Agree, disagree? At least as far as I know. Okay? So it's here in the US, whereas it's no longer available in China. Certainly it's not available in Hinayana Buddhist countries. It's never an emphasis for them. Okay? So the reason I bring it up to you is that we may be new, we may be young. Buddhism and Chan is new to this country practically compared to the other practices like Zen and so forth. However, for it to prosper, for it to proliferate, for it to benefit a lot more people, for it to really serve the world, we have to explain this important process of Chan, that we are to encourage people to seek good no advisors. And the Chan teachers are supposed to be able to refer to the teachers who are better qualified than they are to help people. That comes naturally for us. Okay? If you're really a decent and caring teacher, that's what you would do. Any questions? So today, we're starting, I'd like to introduce to you a good known advisor, and his name is Heng Lai, because he's trained directly under my late Chinese master, who, remember, he's the one who brought Chinese Chan to this country, okay? And therefore, his descendants are very good chances, very strong chances that his descendants are good no advisors themselves. Make sense? It's just common sense. I don't know, okay, because my level is too low. But but I feel that this guy, this monk here, has been practicing my late Chinese teacher's Dharma, and he's very proud. He proclaimed that's the only thing he wants to do is practice Chan. Then he's very likely he's a good no advisor that you should go and seek for instructions. All right? Just my guess. Okay? Because I'm not a certified good no advisor, and therefore all I can give you is my best guess. All right. If you have problems, have issues, you are entitled as a Chan practitioner, because you are Chan practitioners, to go to seek out these people and say, I'm so and so. I came from some such places, and I've been practicing Chan so and so. May I ask you a question? Okay. And the guy may say, how do you know about me? I've been hiding. I've been, doing my own thing all these years. And like a lot of Chan masters do. They are not seeking notoriety, not drawing attention themselves, not trying to become more famous, they're not trying to get more money, build bigger temple at all. So they ask, how do you know about me? You say, I heard some kind of small-time monk in Southern California mention your name. We even listened to your instructions during a Chan Qi in 2018 in September, and that's why I'm here. So you get, that idiot, you should not have listened to him. That's what they do. But at least you're there, and now they're forced. If they really are bona fide good advisors, to answer you. And if they say, I don't know, then now it behooves upon them to refer you to the next guy. Is that clear? That's what Mahayana Chan is about. This is what this American Chan is about. Is that clear? All right. So, I know about this monk here for 24 years. And it's to my great surprise, to my greatest pleasure, to find out there's some videos of him teaching Chan at a monastery, a Snow Mountain Monastery where I was during my novice years. And that's his temple, I heard. That's where he practices in seclusion or whatever. And now, and he's a senior descendant of Master YongHua, my late Chinese teacher, and he's teaching Chan. So that's learned from this good no advisor. Okay. Okay. Let's get started. And again, as usual, I have a big mouth. I say a lot of nonsense. So listen just for the sake of listening, and take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I'm not a good advisor. I emphasize for you again, I only have a big mouth, and therefore you have to use your judgment. All right? Yeah. Use your Buddha nature. Don't just blindly believe everything I tell you. I say, and of course, I'm a low level, therefore I'm jealous. So my comments, at times, very often, are negative. It's only out of ignorance. So again, take that with a grain of salt. Okay? And then if you get fed up with that and say, Master, could we just listen to him and you just withhold your comments and put it online or something, or in writing or something, submit them later so that we can spend more time? Feel free to do that as well, okay? It will not offend me. You may find your tire slashed, but I can't guarantee it's, that you'll be protected. All right? So far, so good? All right. Let's get going then. Right? I have to play. I have to do everything around this temple. It's a story in my life.
Today we begin our Chan session.
This is 2 years ago.
The master used to, our teacher would always come in and give kaishers about twice a day, talks, Dharma talks during the Chan.
This is how low-key he is. Notice, no fresh flowers. Only, what is that? The other lady said, succulent? No, succulents. See this? Only succulents. This is probably plastic flowers. You see, that's how low-key this is. Yeah. You find an important master, usually in the background you have real fresh flowers and a lot of flowers like we used to have. And then my supporter who used to bring a lot of flowers every often, they found out I'm a fake. So they said, no more flowers for you. Now I'm forced to buy my own flowers. Now you know the story behind it, okay? So don't be impressed by the fact I have more fresh flowers than he does. No. This is all self-promotions. It's funny to me that all these succulents, you know, they don't require a lot of water and they can last for months on end and lots of plastic. That's how low-key this monk is. Yes. It's kind of cool to me. Yeah. And then boys and girls, this is not how you wear your lapel microphone, okay? You draw attention to this lapel microphone unnecessarily. Okay? Have some class. Do not draw attention to the stuff like this. Look at this. Guys, it's going to say, is that my camera has a hair on top of it? Okay. All right.
Do we need the translation?
And I'm disappointed with the Chinese translation. This guy has put up with so much incompetent people. The Chinese translation really sucks, she asked me.
以前师父在禅修的时候都会有两个开始。
She misses his English so often, 20% of it, 25% of it.
So he used to tell us the purpose of Chan is to end birth and death and to attain samadhi.
See that? See? That's the sign of good no advice. They get to the point right away. They don't talk about your happiness and all the good stuff. He talks about the things that are critical. The key to Chan is to end birth and death, okay, and all your suffering, and attain samadhi. How many monks and nuns have you studied from who talk like that? This is proper teaching, if you will.
讲禅修的目的有顿生死，还有有禅定。
So he said the most important thing is to, when you're doing Chan, is you want to have a proper kind of attitude and body position.
所以禅的时候，师父以前说，你要有一个正
And he
确
hasn't
的。
taught for many years. He's been practicing in seclusion. So you can tell he's not really polished. You know, he fidgets and he moves around and he is not sure what to do with his head and his hands and so forth. It's lack of experience teaching.
So he says that the most auspicious, of course, is to be able to sit in full lotus, and that is putting your right foot over your left leg and your left foot over your right leg. And keeping them there during the sit, keeping your back straight and looking not straight out in front of you, but kind of down toward.
Have you heard, did you notice? Foot lotus is keep your right legs over the left leg and legs over the right leg. I said, say what? How is it possible? Now your legs are twisted or what? Right over left, and then left over right. You see this? Now it becomes a knot. What he means is right leg over left leg, and left leg over right thigh. You see that? So that's what we do. This is what, but so he's not, he's not really explaining these things. He's more into doing.
Towards your nose.
所以最吉祥的，如果你可以 full lotus， 两个盘腿的话，在就是双腿都盘了。如果不是，对，就是盘腿。还有就是你看那个眼睛的时候，就是看下，往下看。
And the idea is not to close your eyes completely or you'll go to sleep, and not to open them too wide or your mind will get too busy. We call false thinking. You'll be fighting all your thinking.
就是你的眼。
So let me stress for you. So he says, what is the purpose? Why are you here? Why are we practicing meditation? Okay? It builds samadhi power, and in that process, you will end birth and death. You will cease all suffering and be happy always, forever. Okay? In order to do that, what do? Cross your legs in full lotus and twist them. Okay? That's proper teaching. They don't beat around the bush. And you see that? It's a mark of a good teacher, of a good knowing advisor. They don't waste your time. They don't waste their time. Okay? They're not trying to please you. They're not going to say things that you want to hear. You want to listen. They tell you why they're doing this and what's important. All right? So that's what you need to learn. Don't be distracted by all these lack of experience, lack of being polished and stuff. And he's for the whole thing, because probably it's the first time he is recorded on tape, being videotaped. So he's not quite sure what to do with his shoulders or do his I find himself slouching. But say, oh no, I'm not supposed to slouch and stuff like that. So it's just small distraction that's meaningless. Okay, it's not comfortable facing a camera because it's a scary thing. It's recorded for eternity, until eternity. It will criticize you forever. Okay. The cameras does not forget. So, but that's minor. You have to look at that. The essence of the teaching is incredibly concise. Okay, and that's the mark of good teachings. Okay, so please pay attention. Don't be distracted by all these insignificant things, the white phone wire and stuff like that. It's not important. Or lack of flowers, fresh flowers.
眼睛不要全部关起来，因为会睡觉。如果你打开太大的话，你会有很多妄念走
See,
出来。
his hands, he's fidgeting and all that thing.
There's a saying in Chan that your eyes dwell on your nose, and your nose dwells on your mouth, and your mouth dwells on your heart.
就是禅中有一个讲法，就是你的眼睛看你的鼻，你的鼻看你的口，你的口看你的心。
So people say, wait a minute, my nose doesn't have a brain, how can it dwell on my mouth? And my mouth doesn't have a brain, how can it dwell on my heart?
但是有
Go ahead.
但是有时候有些人就是说，哎，我的眼睛都没有那个脑袋，怎么去看那个鼻有没有你的脑袋？怎么去看你的口？
That's what you do. You adjust your rope
But the Master
before
always says, look,
you talk.
we're a
Not-
sentient being, and when you open up your wisdom, your whole body becomes like a tuning fork. I mean, you are able to perceive things, inconceivable things, from every pore in your body.
Did you hear that? This is very Chinese. The Chinese teach and Chan practice that you close your eyes almost fully, and then you contemplate your nose, and you look at your nose, looks at your mouth looks at your heart, whatever. And now he's the first person in English who speaks English and explains why. He says, because it's a conceivable state. You're able to do that. Even though your nose does not have a brain, it still can contemplate the mouth, the lips, or the chin, or whatever. And the chin, even though it's a piece of bone, it can still contemplate the heart. That's what I would do. I say, you should close your eyes and contemplate your mustache, if you're a man. And then from mustache, contemplate your chin. And then from your chin, contemplate your heart, and so forth. And it's the same principle, right? Because once you have wisdom, all those things are able to do that. Okay? But then no one ever asked, no one was ever able to ask them that kind of question. Why do you have to be a nose? Why does it have to be your mouth? Can it be my teeth? Okay? And if the answer he gives is that because they're inconceivable states, all those body parts of yours can do those things, can do the contemplation, then the follow-up question is that, then why does it have to be my nose? Okay, so I personally disagree with this interpretation. Okay, that's why it's confusing to me the way the Chinese teach it. It's contemplating, because I find it nonsensical when I heard my own masters tell me that you contemplate the nose and no contemplate the mouth. And I tried to do that. When I first started, I said, okay, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. I never meditated before, so let me look at my nose. And so I imagine looking at the tips. I stood in front of the mirror, look at my nose, I recognize the shape, and I close my eyes, I contemplate, okay, that's what my nose is supposed to look like. In other words, the tip of my nose is somewhere there, okay? And then I was able to do that, and then I started contemplating from nose, I started going look at the mouth. But unfortunately, my nose has no eyes. So it created confusion for me. So I stopped. I never took those instructions seriously. What I call nowadays too Chinese. He says, it doesn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me then. It still doesn't make sense to me right now. Okay? Only because I don't understand. But it causes confusion for Western educated people like myself. Okay? Yeah. Instead of helping the Chinese, in their culture, they do what they told, and they keep on doing it until they understand. Okay, for us Westerners, we are trained to challenge the instructions. Okay, we feel entitled to clarifications of the instructions that are bestowed upon us. So for me to sit here and give you that, I would have a hard time convincing many of you. Okay, so but it's interesting to see how traditional these people are to the original Chinese teaching. So that is good teaching, by the way. Just because I don't understand it, just as we don't understand it, doesn't mean that we should discard it. Sometimes you listen to it, you don't get it, you just shelve it for now. Okay? I just don't do it, but I still shelve it. Yes, I understand the procession, the contemplations, but it just didn't work for me. Doesn't mean that that's bad instructions. All right? Yes, question.
Thì con có cái thắc mắc là cái người Mỹ họ dịch cái tim là tâm, mà cái người Trung Hoa cái chữ nho của mình cái chữ tâm đâu phải là trái tim, là như vậy có sai không?
The question in Vietnamese is that the English translation of the Chinese term of a heart is mind, but in Vietnamese is a contradiction in terms. I say no, it's not true, because in Vietnamese the word heart also has the same meaning as in Chinese, has both the organ itself as well as the mind. Okay, so it's not true. It's the Vietnamese, the word mind has both meaning of heart and mind, your thinking mind as well as your heart organ. Okay, the Chinese is the exact same thing because the Vietnamese word heart came from a Chinese word. That's why. So, no, it's to the questioner, you're wrong. Anything else?
And you'll be able to hear with your nose and smell with your eyes and do all kinds of inconceivable things.
That's true. It's true. But to the Westerner, it's just too much. Okay.
我们都是有情众生，我们是可以
To Chinese way of explaining
看的
things.
那个最终你可以好像一个教那个 piano 那个琴那个，就是你可以帮你通打开，好像你看眼睛，不只是看，你也可以用眼睛去闻东西，你的鼻子也可以用鼻子做其他的东西。
So you want to try to achieve a right position when you're meditating. And this is the Vajra position, is what's called the Vajra position, when you're able to sit in the full lotus. Because then the demons can't get at you, and your false thoughts won't overwhelm you, and you will have a lot more concentration power.
所以你那个身盘的话，就是他们叫那个金刚坐。你做的这个情况的时候，你会很定，还有那个demon那个魔不会来找你，还有就是帮助你禅定可以很稳。
And you want to sit up straight, and you want to breathe through your nose, if you can, and keep your tongue up on the roof of your mouth.
所以你做的时候，就是你呼吸的时候用你的鼻去呼吸，还有你的，就是你的舌头是轻轻的放在上颚的小，轻轻的放下面就可以了。
And as your mouth will create saliva, you just swallow it. And in Chan, they call that sweet dew samadhi goodness.
所以你坐禅的时候，有时候你会有口水，这个禅中他们叫甜 舔甘露水，所以这个就是把你的舌头放在牙齿前面的小小。
And so you want to, that is the kind of position he used to tell us to always try to maintain. And also, we in the West are a lot softer, really, is what he's saying. So he said that in China, they used to beat people in the Chan halls and to keep them awake and to really make them work hard at their cultivation. So they go around with the incense stick, and they would just hit people if they see them moving around or nodding off to sleep, or even if they're not even doing anything, sometimes they'll beat them. But the master says, not here. We don't do that here in the West.
所以这个就是你的坐姿你有保持，但是我们在西方的话，我们不会用这个打你。三板 ，right， yeah。但是在东方以前，就是在中国的话，他们在禅堂就会把这个打，就是你有时候看你昏倒啊，看你做得不好啊，他会打你。但是在西方这边是不会的。
Monks from China used to come from all over China to if they found out that the really good monastery that has real strict Chan discipline, it's like a military camp. Oh, can I withstand it? Can I wake up? So they would always be like a big challenge.
所以这是在中国的禅宗，他们去一些禅堂是很严格的，就是好像去。好像就是去。
That's the second characteristic of Chan is it's supposed to be difficult. So that's what he said. He said that traditionally in China, when you hear of these way places, these places where they teach Chan, practice Chan, have Chan tea and so forth, the more rigorous, the more difficult, the more famous those places are. Because it's true, because it's more difficult it is, then what happens is the people cannot keep up, they drop out, until when we organize these practice sessions, no one comes anymore. So they have to stop organizing it or have to change it, make it easier for people to come. Okay? So that's why when you have a place where it's so difficult and it's very challenging, like he puts it, then they still organize it regularly and stuff like that, then you know that's a difficult place and that's where the real hardcore Chinese practice, and they become more famous. And that's a tradition, a second tradition of Chinese Chan, which you still find in where? Korea. The Koreans, in their culture, they always are, they don't necessarily know they're supposed to look for good new advisors because they are not taught that anymore. However, they tell each other in their culture, in Buddhist culture, that it's supposed to be difficult. So the more difficult it is, the more demanding it is, the more rigorous it is, the more they respect, the more they are drawn to. Am I correct, Chung Yin Suni?
Sir.
He says, no, Master. No or yes?
Yes, Master.
Oh, thank you very much. The yes was not, the microphone was not turned on. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's one thing I like about Korean Buddhism, where not only for the monks and nuns, but the lay people is very special. When we teach them cross your legs and it hurts and it's difficult, they love it. And they and they're willing to, and they look at it as real teaching, a challenging teaching. That's what Master Da Heng Lai is talking about. He says it's supposed to be challenging, it's supposed to be difficult, it's supposed to struggle. It's not supposed to be easy. Easy is for what? Whims. Okay? Only losers look for easy stuff. Oops. That's not from him, it's from me, losers.
军队的一样，对，他们是找一些禅堂，就是好像军队的这么严格。
Now, back in Gold Mountain Monastery, back in the 1970s, we would do 21-hour sits, which means 1 hour of meditation, and then 20 minutes of walking, meditation, running, and stopping, and then sitting again. We do that 21 hours a day, which is at first inconceivable. None of us thought we could do it.
We do that next Chanchi, boys and girls. We're going to keep up with these people. We're very competitive, you notice by now. Yes, sir. Question in the back. So, next Chanchi, winter Chanchi, we're going to have 1 week of 21 days of sits. 20 hours, I mean, okay? Non-stop. You can eat very quickly, but you have to come back and keep on sitting and walking. Like you can go eat during the 20-minute walk, you know what I mean? And you eat 20 minutes not enough, tough luck, go hungry. Okay? You have to eat very fast. Is that a deal? See, you're a bunch of wimps. Yes, black.
No question, Master. Just thumbs up.
Cool. You see, you ought to try it. Hey, Chung Yin, you're going to do 21 hours of sits or not?
Yes, Master, I want it.
Okay, 1 week. Okay, for 7 days. Xian Jie, am I hearing I second that? I second that. Someone says, I third that. Okay? We have to compete with these people. We're not going to let them, claim that they are exclusive practitioners of the hardcore Chan practices. Okay? Okay, continue. Time is up, unfortunately. Let's finish his point here. Let him finish
那
it.
个坐禅是21个小时，所以这个是不可以去想象的。
So the master used to say, okay, you people who are new, you go ahead and try your best. See if you can do it. If you really think you cannot do it, then you can go to your rooms at 8 o'clock in the evening and get up with everybody else at 3:30. But try your best and see if you can stick it out.
所以以前师父会说，如果你们是新来的新的人，不可以做21个小时的禅修的话，师父说你8点先回去休息，然后早上3点跟其他人一起起禅。
So the first time I tried it, I was very nervous. I think, well, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know. Looks like it's going to be really hard. But I was able to do it, and it wasn't that impossible. It seemed
See that? He could do
quite
21
natural.
hours.
And then after a few days of doing it,
Do not let
I
me
just
down.
decided, why go to your room? Just stay in the Chan hall. So many of us just stayed in the Chan hall. We didn't even leave.
我以前第一次去做的时候，我是蛮紧张的，但是第一天之后 OK 了，可以习惯，然后之后的几天我都有去禅堂，因为觉得不应该回去，就是在禅堂继续用功。
And in about a week or so, we were all light and easy, as they say, where your body feels light and easy when you walk, and your legs stop screaming at you with pain as you continue.
It's extremely
所以
fast.
第一个
1
星
week,
期
he
之后
conquered it all.
身体
That's
觉得
impressive.
很轻
Very
松，
impressive.
那个脚有部位觉得很痛，
See, he's
所以
still
慢慢
thinking
已
about
经
those
习
times.
惯
That's
了
why he becomes still.
就
You
是
see that?
蛮轻松的，那
He's
时
still
候的
recollecting
享受。
what it felt like at those moments. That's why
And
he
the
didn't stop
master never
moving.
ran a very strict Chan hall like they do in mainland China.
See
in
the
some of
difference
these
now in
monasteries.
demeanor?
The master
He's not
says,
moving
"No,
anymore.
We need to gather in the Westerners so that they can approach Chan. So he says, if somebody next to you nods off, leave them alone. Don't wake them up. But if they start snoring, you can wake them up.
Whack him, he
就
means.
是在西方的这边，这边的长寿不会太严格，所以看到旁边的人，他们如果好像睡倒啊，就是不用碰他，但是如果他有声音了，就去碰他。
So this, everybody became better and better at it. And our Chan halls had men and women together, and we'd all do the 21 hours. And it was, at first, just a few people would do it, and then more and more people would do it, and within a few days, just about everybody was doing it. So it was quite achievable.
所以在禅团的时候，不是很多人可以做到，但是慢慢几天之后，越来越多人可以去做，所以这个是可以去做到的，各位。
And the master always encourages to stay in the full lotus as long as you can possibly bear it. And the master says, and when you're sure you cannot bear it any longer, count to 10 slowly and see if you can bear it another 10 seconds.
就是做算盘的时候，师父会说你尽量有去做，就是做的就是很痛，你都去做，就是真的很痛，就是数一直慢慢数到之后，你可以做了，就可以。
And he would tell us the story about the 3 pagodas monk.
Okay, so we stop here today and go to lunch. Sorry, time is up. Thank you, everyone.